As a black conservative, your candidate says, I want to make America great again. You tell me when America was great, and then you tell me, would you go back to wherever it was great as a black American? And it's got to be before 2016, my friend, because that's when he was saying that.
I think America was great when everyone was benefiting from economic
No, not general, sir. I'm asking for a specific time. When was America great?
If you want to know when America was great, ask any immigrant who risked their lives to come here.
I really want to hear from
America is great.
I really want to hear from the black man on this, because the second part of my question is, would you go back to that time? When was America great?
America was great when everyone had equality and everyone was moving towards equality. That's when America was great.
What year was
That's
that,
when America
sir?
was great. After the Civil Rights Movement, that's when America was great and making progress in change.
So let's say the late 1960s, you're saying as a black man, you would transport yourself back to the 1960s.
No, I think America was great when economically everyone was doing better. When we're making progress towards equality, that's when America was great. And
so the sum of the condition of America was when people had economic equality, and you think that was the 1960s?
No, I never said that was the 1960s. I said everything past that. I said everything past that. We've made so much progress from then.
In the 8 years that Donald Trump has been involved in politics, I've seen all the Make America Great hats and all the great T-shirts and all that great stuff. But I'm trying to figure out, as a, I think, intelligent black man, well, when would I go back?
So I do have an answer for you in this equation. Those years will be 2017 to 2021. Alice Johnson is free right now. And I know you want to pigeonhole me into a period. All right, you want to go to prior to 2016? Let's look at the Reconstruction era when we had black Americans as a whole that were finally free from the scourge of slavery because of what happened in the Civil War. They banded together to create something called the Republican Party, and the Democrats created something called the Ku Klux Klan to find and exterminate as many of those recently freed black men as possible. We can fast forward then to the 1960s if you want to. We had Lyndon Baines Johnson, Democrat president of the United States, who said, I will have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And then he brought the Great Societies Act, put us all on welfare, and emphasized Margaret Sanger to exterminate as many of us as possible.
Please answer this. I have a question. Wait. Please just allow me just one outburst. Please. I have a question. When you say make America great again, which period are we talking about? The period when women couldn't vote? The period when we were hanging from trees?
I'll answer.
Or like the crack era? Which period in America are you trying to make America like
So I actually think that I would totally rock a hat right now that said make Black America great again. Because Black America...
We're talking about make America. That wasn't the question.
I am answering your question.
Which period was America great that we're trying to replicate? Which era was it? Tell me.
I think I'll answer your question.
Tell me.
I'm ready to answer your question.
Which era was it?
What?
Which era was so great?
Here's the thing that you guys are forgetting. America was actually one of the... Slavery was all over the world. All over the world. America was... I'm not saying it's okay, so why are you saying, oh?
Amen.
America was one of the first countries...
I want to like you so bad. Because you're so smart. I want to like you so much.
I want to hear you.
I want to be able to hear them. I want to be able to hear them.
If you can't answer the question and you're just going to boo when I say slavery was all over the world, which is a fact, why are you booing a fact?
Because you're making light of...
No, I'm not.
You're making light
I haven't gotten into my points. I'm not making...
people that look like us. You can't make light of that. That ain't nothing you breeze over.
I haven't even finished the sentence. How am I making light of anything?
You started with some bullshit.
Make America great again. Yeah, most of people are saying this because a lot of things are changing. People are struggling with inflation. People are high cost of living. People are being evacuated from their places, and a lot of things are happening. And the America, which was by then America is not like the America like that. Is it for today? Because there are a couple of challenges and people are declining. The US currency, people are leaving it, and a lot of things are happening across the world. And the citizens of the United States, some of the citizens of the United States are saying, make America great again. But now let's just be critical. When was America great for black people? You might want to ask yourself that question. I'm also asking myself that question because when I look at through the history, I'm seeing that America was great, yes, but was it great for black people? Was it? Tell me if you feel like it was great for black people. I just want to know, because Make America Great is a statement which is given by those who were enjoying the privilege of just living good life without looking the systems, without looking the structures which was put in place to make them feel good, to make them live well, right? And you could see a couple of people talking about, make America great again because it was great for them, but it was not great for Black people. That's what we are here to discuss. These are presented Gender Stories, and while you're watching that video, I want you to think about it. Was it great for you as a Black person watching this video? People call me a Black supremacist. Yes, that's what this channel does. I'm not a Black supremacist because it is facts. It is facts over feelings. So now, was it great to you as a Black person watching this video? Because you are my audience. Was it great to you? I just want to hear your opinion. Give me that part of American history or in time, or maybe that you are a kid, that you can recall that it was great to you. Let's just be real, okay? If it was great to you, tell me. If it was not great for you, tell me. I still want to know. So these are presented Unique Stories. If you're watching this video for the first time, I'll most definitely want you to watch this video, and then I'll be back, and then we'll come and talk about it. I hope you're fine wherever you are. Hey, you might wanna, if it's okay with you, you can check out my Cash App account. You can support me, and those who are supporting me, trust me, I see what you do, and I'm really, really appreciative of what you are doing. So let's get into it. I'll be back. As you know, these are presented Gender Stories, and
No, I want an answer to that, because that's your slogan, make America great again. When was America great for you?
Okay. That is, American great is our freedom.
Freedom. Your freedom? Or all of our freedom?
Everybody's freedom.
Everybody's freedom. So
yes.
when was America great for all of us?
When our forefathers.
Forefathers, the ones that own people?
No.
Which ones?
You have to look at the history. You got to look at the history.
I am. I'm asking you. Which for? George Washington owned 300 people and went after a few of them for running away. They signed a constitution that made Black people, enslaved Black people, 3/5 of a human being. I don't think it was great then. If you're asking me, a Black woman.
Right, but you have to understand.
What?
Our history to get where we are today. What's happening is our media.
No, Jackie, because again, if you can't walk me through the greatness of America and how you want to restore it to a place where it was great before, your whole argument falls apart. So walk me through when America was great.
Okay, so America has been great forever. Now the problem is the people.
For who though? No, I can't wait, because you need to answer the question. And again, you call up, and I'm glad, Mississippi. I love the state. You're a Trump supporter, which I want to get into the reasons behind that. But it's all around this freedom thing and this greatness thing, and we need to settle on what that looks like for you. And for me, and then for all of us, because if it's not going to be great for all of us, then it's not great for any of us, Jackie.
Well, my question is, why don't you think it's great? Because I've grown up, and
Okay. No. You answer my question first, please.
Okay. So you're asking me when it was great. It's been great. It has been great.
It has been great. So slavery was great. Trail of Tears was great. The Chinese Exclusion Act, great. The Japanese internment, great. That was great. Jim Crow was great. Back of the bus, colors only water fountains. Let me see. Brown versus Board of Ed. Oh, the throwing of tomatoes at little girls. The bombing of a church with little girls in it. That was great. The hanging of hundreds and thousands of Black people, burning down towns in the 1920s. The draft riots in New York because of people having to fight for freedom. Liberty is everything, right? Liberty is everything. That was a great America to you?
Okay.
Okay, you can't just say, okay, was it great or not?
It's people that make it bad.
People make it bad. Yes, racist people, horrible people, genocidal people make it bad. You're absolutely right.
It's all about people, people that
last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
What do you think of this year's presidential race, the way it's shaping up?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. I think that probably George Bush has an advantage in terms of the election. I think that probably people would say that he's got like that little edge in terms of the incumbency, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Jesse Jackson's done himself very proud. I think Michael Dukakis has done one hell of a job. And George Bush has done a hell of a job. You know, they all went in there sort of as semi-underdogs, including George Bush, and they've all come out. I think people that are around all three of those candidates can be very proud of the jobs they've done.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
When I see the Make America Great Again, my comment is, do you accept that that could possibly be construed as a racist remark? When was it ever great in America for the African American?
So Bryan Cranston has stirred up a lot of controversy recently on the internet with an interview highlighting something that a lot of places have studied for some time, talking about how the phrase "Make America Great Again" and other phrases similar tend to highlight the lack of empathy we're always seeing from the right, and their overall consistent inability to step outside of their own experience and acknowledge others. Because at its core, that is what empathy is, the ability to share someone else's feelings or experience by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation. Which is kind of the main reason I always say, you know, I have some friends and acquaintances that are kind of on the right, but I would never date someone on the right, because someone who has a lot of empathy is important to me in dating, and cue all of the crying boys who totally don't care in my comments. The phrase itself, "Make America Great Again," perfectly embodies their utter lack of empathy. Because it brings up the great question that they can never seem to answer is, when was America great for absolutely everybody and not just straight white men, is the catch. I mean, African Americans weren't even technically freed until 1869. They couldn't really all even vote, and not even voting safely at this point, till 1870. They're still fighting being able to vote safely and easily to this day. The Civil Rights Act wasn't passed until 1964, not that long ago. Married women weren't even allowed to own their own property or keep their own working wages until 1848. We definitely couldn't even vote until 1920. Even though technically we were supposed to be able to have our own bank accounts in the 60s, many banks would still not allow them to be signed off without a husband. And without a husband, we weren't allowed to own credit cards until 1974. Which is wild when you consider that's close to 10 years off from when my oldest sibling was born. And many of us weren't even allowed to be married legally everywhere until 2015, and they're still fighting that constantly to this day. When you say the phrase "Make America Great Again," who does that include? Because it excludes all women, all people of color, LGBTQ communities. Do you want to do the math on who's left in that equation? Yeah, it's people who have no ability to see outside of their lived experience and understand that America wasn't really ever that amazing for the rest of us.
A lot of people aren't going to like this video, but it is what it is. But did y'all know since 1973, it's been nearly 20 million black babies that's been aborted? And don't take my word for it. This is as a policy report. It says the effects on abortion in the black community. And as y'all can see, congress.gov. So this is an official government website doing this reporting. And they said with 474 abortions per 1,000 live births, percentages at these levels illustrate that more than 19 million black babies have been aborted since 1973. Now, some people may think all this is a coincidence without realizing that this was particularly promoted to the black community as a form of population control. And this might sound crazy to some, but don't take my word for it. Take President Richard Nixon's word for it, who was president from 1969 to 1974. And this was one of his quotes. He said, "As I told you, we talked about it earlier, that a hell of a lot of people want to control the Negro bastards." And here's a few more of his quotes. He said, "A majority of the people in Colorado voted for abortion. I think a majority of people in Michigan are for abortion. I think in both cases, well, certainly in Michigan, they will vote for it because they think that that's what's going to be aborted generally are the little black bastards." And he also said, "You know what we are talking about, population control." And don't just take my word for it. You can read this yourself. Now, Margaret Sanger, who's one of the founders of Planned Parenthood and one of the leaders of the birth control movement, she believed it was necessary to reduce the birth rate among the diseased, the sickly, the poverty-stricken, and antisocial classes, elements unable to provide for themselves, and the burden of which we are all forced to carry. They said her organization used trusted leaders to convince the black community that abortion as a form of birth control is not only acceptable, but also beneficial to the African American culture. Now, some people may ask why. Like, why would somebody do all of this, right? And the reason is political power. Politics is all about numbers. The more numbers you have, the more power and influence you have voting-wise. And the more babies black people have, the more political power and voting power we'll have. And you could just read this here. It says, "Consider this. If those 10 million children had not been aborted, the voting power of the black community would now be at 16% nationally rather than the current 13%. What many people don't know is, and I made a post on Twitter about this about 2 months ago, is that since 1980, black people have been around 12 to 13% of the U.S. population. Today in 2024, we're still 13% of the U.S. population. Meanwhile, the Hispanic and Asian populations have tripled in America. And in 2050, the U.S. Census Bureau predicts that Hispanics will be 25% of the U.S. population, Asians will be 9% of the population, and guess where the blacks will still be population-wise? Still at 13%. Now, if you believe that's a coincidence or something that just happened by chance, I don't really know what to tell you. But I will say this, and this is something I tweeted a couple months ago. I said self-preservation is the first law of nature. Any person, system, party, or organization that aids and encourages the elimination of a people should be public enemy number one, and that should be obvious to people, in my opinion. And I also said the genocide of black Americans won't be understood or taken seriously until it's too late. And I'm only making this video for food for thought. I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but I just wanted to bring this information to light because I know a lot of people aren't aware of this. And I know a lot of people are promoting things without understanding the cause and effect. There's a cause and effect to every single thing that happens.
Yes, welcome back to the channel. You've seen for yourself. A group of people will say, "Oh, make America great again." Yes, America was great, but it was great to you. It wasn't great for everybody. It wasn't great for a group of black people, for example, who suffered, right? So right now, people want to make America great again because the system which was put before is trying to fail. And I've seen these debates. And it's critical because most of these people were asked, when was America great? Especially black people to them. Or even those white people and other group of people who knows really history. When was America great? Apart from reclaiming its superpowers from the First and Second World War. I just want to know. So there are a couple of things that we could talk about that are equally important. But it is time for us, black people, to realize that it was never great. The greatness that we are seeing, it is the greatness that your ancestors people who look like me, who look like you, created it through your sweat, blood, pain, depression. You understand what I'm saying? So even if it was great on their face, it was great because your ancestors built the country, built it with their knowledge, built it with their blood. So there ain't nothing great to talk about. There ain't nothing great to say that, oh, you know, the United States was great because we built this, we first made this. No, it was made by black people. Then let's don't lie about that. Yes. So I don't know which part of history, or maybe I would like to be educated. If that's the case, or if you feel like, oh, you don't know, you know nothing of what you're saying, I would like to know. Just tell me in the comment section, because honestly, I'm not seeing any greatness, because all I'm seeing is history followed by uncivilized activities by people who claimed that they were civilized. A series of uncivilized activities. Look at what they did to black men. Look at what they did to black women. Look at what they did to black people as a whole. Was that great to you? Was that used to make America great? For me, like people like Candace Owens. Sometimes I don't know what's wrong with them. With other group of black people who think in that line. I understand maybe where you are, you're enjoying something because maybe, you know, I'm just saying. But America was never great. Let's just be real with each other. It was never great. Followed by the series of uncivilized activities that they did to black people. Nah, that's not what we call greatness. That's not great. That's not great. That's not great. Is it great to you? Tell me. I want to know. Is it great to you? Because honestly, for me, nah, it's not great. It's not great. I want to know. Tell me how you feel about this. I'm open to learning. Tell me in the comment section. If you look at what the United States is doing until today, like even right now that I'm talking to you, the things that it's doing outside this country, a lot. I pray for black people who see that America is great to get back to their senses, because it was never great. Followed by the history, followed by the things that we see, followed by the pain, followed by look at the black neighborhoods, look at the black towns which were drowned, look at the black community which was massacred. That was never great. That's not what we call greatness, unless Cambridge Dictionary changed its meaning of greatness. I want to know. I really want to know. Like, when was it great? To me, it was never great. I can't say it was great at any point. I can't say, hey, look at me, I'm serious about this. I can't say it was never great. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. These are Present Agent Stories. Let's meet on my next video.